Well, hello YouTube, how we doing today? I'm doing fine. Been busy riding out some pretty crazy weather down here in Oklahoma. A little warm out today, so we're not at the lake currently. We're going to head out a little later, but I've been kind of wanting to do a video all week, but between work and tornadoes and everything else, I haven't really found the time because there was some interesting stuff that came out this week. One of them, here I got pulled up here. Pardon me. Now, in my videos, I've talked about who's playing the different parts, correct? And in the Bible, it gives reference to Jesus being the only one to be able to loosen the seals, right? The 7 seals that mark the end days. Well, so here we have the person playing Jesus, right? And what does that say right there? Now that the seal is broken. All this other stuff, verbal voodoo, it's just, there's the timestamp right there, right? So, again, we're getting very near the end. And also, in my previous videos, in fact, here, I did a little research on the seals themselves, and right here, there are some Bible scholars that say the current realm that we in was the opening of the 6th seal. So there's only one seal left to go, which would be the 7th. I'm not sure about that. They very well, because see there again, that's kind of some of the programming that these seals have to be opened in a particular order, and I just don't buy all that. They could all be undone at once. Who knows? But in this article, highlighted there, it says, in essence, the 7th seal opens the end times and leads into the true end of the age, which is exactly where we're at, is the end of the age. Now, some people will say, yeah, we're just moving out of the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius. It'll be the same old, same old. Again, I don't buy that. It's the same thing as the end days. It is going to be a new age. There was another article that came out. A friend of mine sent this to me. Right there, ion Q. So just like you can change the U in the Son of Man to an O and make it refer to this Jesus character. Ion Q, I am Q, right? The future is quantum. That's the future. And then, in this article, there's just pages more of verbal voodoo about computers and da-da-da-da-da. But that's really not it at all. So the other thing that's been in the news is this big alien thing going on in Las Vegas, right? So now in some of my other videos, I talked about how the Elohim, right? Let's make him, them, in our image. Because there's 2 images made there, right? In the beginning, God, who we refer to as God, source, energy, whatever, consciousness, he had an image. We are no longer in that image. We are in the image of the Elohim, who were waiting here at our birth. Everything's symbolic, the micro and the macro, right? Just like doctors are waiting here for you to be born, they were waiting here for us to be born straight from the earth. So there again, as we keep going backwards through some time, because even that Bible, and I think I've mentioned this, if not, you can read the Bible and there's a lot of his story. That's all it is. It's just a reference book that's been twisted into a religion. But there's references of the past, there's references of the day, and then there's also the prophets that spoke of the future, right? So even the Bible does this big walk back and forth of timelines, okay? So, but as we go backwards in the grand scheme of things, there's going to be reference to aliens. It's part of the timestamp of when they arrived, you know, and people waiting for the alien invasion. It happened a long time ago. Nothing new under the sun. We were the result of that. So that was some of the stuff in the news that's kind of cropped up that caught my eye. And then while I was just digging through other stuff, there were some other things that caught my eye. For example, you know, when we get to where, you know, the point where pebbles on a beach, right? Grains of sand were very small, and, you know, giants, you know, we have these large bones. Giants once inhabited the earth. Everything is perspective. If you're the size of a grain of sand, a normal person, and let's say normal is 13 feet, I mean, who knows how tall, right? They're gonna appear like a giant. Simple. And they show you this in movies too. Like, you know, remember Men in Black? Okay, so oddly enough, the cat's name was Orion, right? And Orion wore that little medallion. And as it turned out, that medallion was actually a little universe tucked away in there, right? Ooh, let's blow it up. Okay? That's no, not. I'm not saying that that's what it looks like and it's strapped to a cat, but it's all symbolic. Just like at the end of Men in Black 2, you know, Kay, you know, tries to remind Jay of how things really are, and they open up a door in their world, and they're actually looking out of a locker into a much bigger world. Okay, so and there again, I'm pretty sure when you go back into Sumera, and even, you know, the stuff that's there, where is it? I may not have that one in here. Huh. Well, I wonder why that one's not in here. But here is something that is in here that is kind of unique. Remember seeing these on the different tablets coming out of Sumera? You had that one and that one. Well, you know, basically it's like I've been saying, voila. So, you know, it's the same storyline, different just different players through the ages, different timelines of correction. Just like all the cities are basically built the same. You know, there's maybe a handful of designs to every city, and they're just reduplicated. Same thing with your schools, your churches. It's the same thing with the timelines. But you know, when I saw that this came out, that was just another big one for me. Just because the part he's playing, you know, these different things, mark the time marks, which that's what they all are. It's just time stamps. So, you know, the alien in the news, you almost had to expect that, because as it shall be in the end, as it was in the beginning, and vice versa. And oddly enough, that's exactly how it worked out, because in the beginning, there probably was a vast nothing, and everything was thought into creation, and that got tampered with and ended up being a vast nothing because of the great war in heaven. So in Genesis, you know, that's also the mirror image. There were two beginnings. There was the beginning of this realm that we're in, and then there was the beginning of everything, and they all started with there was nothing. You know, Like it says, as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. And that's exactly how it turned out. And now we're going from the end with the great vast of nothingness back to the beginning. So my guess is we're drawing ever so close. I can feel the energy, and you can see the craziness in the world, right? As the pressure builds, as we get into that narrowing, the funnel, right? I showed in my last video the pressures that are on the earth. Science has recognized it, and it's going to come out in the people around you too. As the pressure builds, they'll get louder, they'll get crazier. Some will, not all of them. But the ones that aren't handling the pressures and the energies well will really stand out, or at least they do to me. But I think that's all I have for today, just those couple little bits. And if I find my other image from Samaria, I'll pull it up too and maybe do another short video on it. Although, see, that's the problem with doing videos for me at this time, because just the way I see things, and whether I'm seeing it right or not, hey, it is what it is, right? But like I've said in most of my videos all along that discuss what's going to happen when this event that everybody's waiting for takes place, that you're not going to remember this place. So all of this, is just killing time, so to speak. It has significance only to some people. It's unimportant to everything else, because in the end, when we go back to reality, the flip side of the mirror, it'll be I keep saying it's going to become the greatest Mandela effect of all. When you look into Mandela effects, you remember it one way, but if you research it, no, it's always been this way, and you're just misremembering, right? Well, no, you remember it correctly, but that's how a Mandela effect works. Once it's changed for that's it. You can't look back on to find what it used to be, because it doesn't exist anymore. It was changed. Just like with us, there was a timeline that we walked, and then when they went back in time to get to us at our birth, it changed all the good into bad. And I know that sounds very far-fetched, but, hey, truth is stranger than fiction. In one of my other videos, I had talked about what these bags represent. And it wasn't the first time they did it. Well, to us it was. And from then on, that's the flip side of this too, because of how great we were and because we were altered. As soon as we were touched, all the timelines changed, and chances are, just like the divide that you see going on today, it put a divide into the whole universe, not just the people here or the people there. You can see that playing out in day-to-day, the micro and the macro again. Everything in this world is symbolic of something much bigger and of different timelines. And it was that change in us that prompted us through misleadings to probably create the great war in heaven. We probably helped create it and helped probably bring it to an end just because of our power. We probably helped create the great, but it wasn't through our design. It was just what we were altered into. But those are just some some more of my crazy words for the day. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. I love you all. Okay, bye-bye.